Hey guys, this is Long Night Entertainment. I'm Mycosa, and I'm doing a last video log for this set because someone on yesterday's, I'm sorry, I don't remember who, might have been Randolph. I'm genuinely not sure. I'll have to double check. I do apologize there, but someone brought up a very good point, and it's only one part in what's actually a bit of a bigger point. I wanted to touch on this as a last thing on the building your channel, because I mentioned making a Twitter account that's just your channel. I mentioned having a Facebook page that's just your channel. After you get big enough where it's relevant. I mean, it's no point in having a Facebook page for your channel and you and two people visit it. You want to get a little bit of a following at least. But still, that's useful. I mentioned possibly having a website, maybe a Tumblr blog or a website with a dedicated blog. Something. And those are good thoughts, but someone touched on the subject of channel trailers. And that's actually I'm getting ahead of myself. I also touched on intros and outros. And of course, everyone's seen a thumbnail on a video, and I kind of didn't go into that very heavily. And I now realize that I should have, because the channel trailer aspect of this is actually part of a sort of group thing when talking about branding that is actually very important. Sorry. What I'm basically saying here is a last step in terms of establishing your brand, establishing your channel, establishing all of that. There we go. Is that this is a connected thing. When you're making your channel, when you're getting it customized, getting it working, you want to have a good, cohesive appearance. And it's best if your intro and outro in some way invokes that appearance through a symbol or something, the artwork, something. Now, I of recent had been using some art that I'd actually commissioned someone to make, Fivos, and let me just say now, he does good work. His rates were reasonable. I did, pay him for it, and someone like him would be good if you want to get a good common theme, common art for it. The only reason I'm now going a different direction is because of some personal difficulties I had that have caused me to need to be overly cautious and now need to handle the whole thing completely myself in order to make sure I can properly secure my intellectual property. This is not his fault and is entirely related to things that are outside of him. So I can actually recommend him, and I'll try and put a link in the description or something, for if you guys have any interest in that. He does good work. But the reason I went with that originally, and the reason I'm now going to have to do it for myself, is to get a common style. A watermark that is recognizable and is in that common style. A profile picture that again evokes that common style. A channel trailer that includes something that's recognizable from the watermark, preferably at least, and the thumbnail. And yes, a channel trailer is important, as are thumbnails, to show your video. Because when people first see the video on the feed, the first thing they're going to see is the thumbnail. You want to have it look visually eye-catching, preferably with some common themes that identify it as you. I know, just for example, Jacksepticeye and Markiplier will frequently use their face, plain and simple. I've also seen some quote-unquote smaller channels. When you're over 10 million subscribers, everyone's smaller. But Chameleon, Winger, more recently Aries Den, they've been doing something similar, making sure their face is in there. But they also go with a common theme. I have one smaller channel I follow called Golden Tails Geek. he has an interesting style that basically makes each one look a little like a Nintendo cartridge, which I think is pretty darn cool. I recently did a brief review of some thumbnails that someone was doing, where the whole problem with it, for all that everything else was visually striking. Oh yes, I know, baby's in his cage because I have to go to work. It'd be unkind to bring him out, while I'm sorry about that. But anyway, the whole problem was that the backgrounds were just a little drab. We had a foreground picture where the logo of the game was, or what the episode was. It wasn't in a uniform place. So each thumbnail looked a little boring and disjointed, even though he had some good ideas for how to make it. You want it to catch the eye. You don't want it to be bland. Trust me when I say that's important. Heck, that's something I've been struggling a little with some of my thumbnails, I think. I just don't like my Terraria one. I like the others. My Factorio one and my Minecraft one, and even my Subnautica one, I'm very proud of them. But my Terraria one could be better. So could my Starbound one. Just saying. And for the channel trailer, you want it to be short, just a couple minutes, just 1 to 3 minutes, and you want to give a good insight into what you're doing. It is very important to ultimately get these things together. And it's also good if your intro, your outro, your opening statement and sequence, preferably where you announce who you are and what game you're playing, and I'll get back to that in a moment, and your outro, a common goodbye, should evoke a bit of that channel trailer. And if you use art or an animation, again, best if it at least evokes what you're doing with your banner, your logo, your watermark, your profile picture. You want to tie it together that way. Now, I'd mentioned the thing I just mentioned. There's a reason you want to introduce yourself and introduce the game you're playing, even if it's part of a series, and even if, the game has an opening of its own to some way, unless it's obvious that you're watching the first episode. Saw a video not too long ago. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. So many channels that I check out, man. I do apologize there. But he was wanting someone to review his work. And the one critique, the only critique I had, was that when it opened, I legitimately thought I was watching a no narration Let's Play. Because he just let it talk. And I'll be honest, I probably would have moved on. It looked, at first, like just a recording dump from, say, a voiceless live stream. No face cam, no commentary, just here to game. And while that can be interesting if you're looking through walkthroughs or whatnot, or guides, if I wanted to watch a Let's Play or anything like that, I would have completely skipped over him. And that sucks, because let me tell you something. Later tonight, I'll see if I can add a link to his channel on that, because honestly, good strategy, solid editing, not 1001 memes added in, just the video flowed smooth, clear, concise narration, well explained, academic in how it explained what he did, but also entertaining. He did a good, solid job, and I'd have never known. And I wouldn't have known from just browsing through what the game was, because he didn't introduce the name or himself in those first 15, 20, 30 seconds. I say, even if it has an opening, introduce yourself first. Then do a cut from the title, if nothing else, and then do a cutaway to where the game goes. It's important because when people come to your page, the first thing they're going to see is your thumbnail. The second thing they're likely to see is your channel, the banner, the profile pic. And the third thing they're going to experience is your introduction. And preferably what it is you're playing if you're doing a let's play of a game. And it doesn't matter if it's part of a series. Chances are they're going to see your most recent video, not your first one. So you want to make sure you introduce yourself, and if it's a game, your game, at the start. Otherwise, people might skip you by. This all got brought up yesterday, and I just wanted to touch on that really quickly now. It was an important topic that for some reason, I never talked about it. So now I have. Whee! We're resuming things back to normal tomorrow. I've got things ready to go. I'll be doing a last live stream tonight, trying to get the bit rates straightened out. So I'll be doing a last live stream tonight, and I've ultimately got to get just a direct cable connection. Yeah. But in the meantime, time for me to go to work. So, thank you all for tuning in. If you liked what you saw, give that like button a boop. And as always, thank you all for watching, and have yourselves a great day. Bye-bye. Clickety.